4th of July is upon us tomorrow. Today's July 3rd. I'm Caleb Schulke. This is the Ascended Podcast. But just for a second, before we start this podcast, let's just imagine it's July 4th. Fireworks have lit up the sky. It's evening. You're just calming down. Hopefully, you haven't drank too much and you're in a decent state of mind. But you feel that chest-thumping surge of patriotism, right? The red, white, and blue, the explosions in the air, and you picture Francis Scott Key hastily writing the Star-Spangled Banner as he watches this magnificent piece of art, this magnificent piece of art light up the sky, which is the explosions in the battle, right? And you just wonder what it was like to be an American patriot in 1775, fighting to put it all together, fighting to further our cause and create our country, to make this amazing country that we had the opportunity to exist in. Before I go in on anything, before I bring up criticisms, before I debate things right openly and bring up knowledge to question your beliefs or anything like that, I just want to say we have the honor to be here today. We have the honor to exist in the United States of America. Regardless of what's happening, we are here for a reason. Our lives could be terrible. We could be getting bombed. We could be getting trafficked. Things could be happening to us. We have the opportunity to go to work, to come home, to at least have a decent life. And among generations of your ancestors, right? That's more than they could even rely on. And so having the opportunity to complain about things in the first place, having the opportunity to challenge beliefs, it's a luxury. Cannot take that for granted. I want to ask you guys a question, especially on this weekend. 4th of July is celebrating independence, right? It's technically called Independence Day. It's not called the 4th of July. It just is on the 4th of July, right? It's like calling Christmas December 25th. I want to ask you guys a question. Are you really free, or are you just another mouse on that hamster wheel, right, of a gilded cage? Are you actually free? And I want to get a little bit philosophical here. What does it mean to be free? Right? Jordan Peterson, what does mean? What is be? What is free, right? I'm not doing all that, but I just want to ask the base level, right? What does it mean to be free? Can you answer that right now? Can you give me an answer of what freedom means? It doesn't mean hot dogs. It doesn't mean red, white, and blue overalls. It doesn't mean Toby Keith, even as much as I wanted to. We're trained to celebrate a morning after rebellion as the ultimate freedom. And for most Americans, the 4th is just a brief party, right? It's a weekend break between paychecks and bills. Behind the barbecue, behind the beer, right? Beyond getting just sloshed with your homies, the system grinds on. There's still people selling things in stores on the 4th of July. Life still operates. We don't come to a halt on one of the biggest holidays in our nation. Most of us never even see the gears behind the system, and that's going to be a huge point of tonight. You operate within a system, but you've never seen the inside of it. So I want to ask you a question. Would you trust your car if you didn't even know how it functioned? You heard a rattling, and you didn't know what it was, or didn't even know what could be causing the rattling because you didn't even know what car parts there were. How would you know if it was good or bad? How would you know if there was a problem? If you didn't understand how an engine worked, how would you know if your car had difficulty? If you didn't know what brakes were, how would you know that squeaking sound when you stop is bad? How would you know to get it checked out? But understand the point I'm making. Most of us never see the gears behind the system. So not enough of us realize when things need fixing, when things need change. Because to us, we're sort of ignorant to the real problem. Not only that, but we miscategorize the actual issue. We're still financial servants, essentially, hooked on consumerism, pacified by our screens, and divided by our lies. On this Independence Day, let's tear off this blindfold. Let's finally open our eyes. Let's get a true glimpse in that night sky of the fireworks, of the real explosions happening in front of us, our culture, in our society, in the way humankind exists. America has always had the opportunity of being a leading force in the world, militarily, as I have had the honor to serve, politically, financially, culturally. And so it's also our responsibility to carry the burden of fixing ourselves without relying on other people to. But to do that, we have to understand what is right, what is wrong, and when it's time to fix. And more importantly, understanding how well we're holding to the promise we made not only the world, but to ourselves. So, tonight, are we free? Ask any man today to sum up his mission in life, and most will fumble. Most can't give you a clear answer. Most will say, well, I'm on the grind, bro. I'm trying to lock in. I'm trying to get my bands up. What are you talking about, brother? Okay, that's great, right? But our jobs, our schools, our culture have told us that we're irrelevant, that we're just one small piece of the puzzle, that we just go to work, that we come home, and we don't expect anything in between. In 2020, nearly half of women said they earn as much or more than their husband or boyfriend, compared to less than 4% in 1960. I'm gonna read that one more time. I'm not saying this is a bad thing, right? It's just a massive change. In 2020, half of women essentially said they earn as much or more than their husband or boyfriend, compared to less than 4% in 1960. It comes from Vox.com. Vox. Most men and men in general used to be the provider, right? In quotes. But now soft skills and college degrees rule the economy. In fact, and here's another fact, for every 100 bachelor's degrees awarded to women, men only get 74, also from Vox. So women are owning and earning the majority of degrees right now. No wonder working class guys are lost. No wonder when we're being told to take a woman out on a date and we don't have money because we don't have the higher ticket jobs, we're essentially forced to sum up the lower paying labor-based jobs that pay less money. How does that system still operate? The muscle and machines jobs are gone, replaced by service desks and desk jobs. Even the harshest measures of despair show men on the edge. 3 out of 4 deaths of despair. 3 out of 4 deaths from suicide, from overdose, from alcoholism. 3 of 4 deaths by your own hand are by men, even though it's 50-50. This isn't coincidence, it's calculated. Feminist voices in schools and workplaces are cheerled by mainstream media, but who's really looking out for the boys? I'm not saying feminism is wrong. I'm saying who's helping the men when they get labeled the enemy? Because for women to win, it's a zero-sum game. They have to take jobs from the men. They have to step up in positions that men would typically hold. And when you push too far to one extreme, right? If you had men controlling the workforce and then you overcorrect, that results in deaths. It results in suicide. It results in depressed males that are still being told that they have to carry the standard. They have to pay the bill. They have to uphold the terms. They simply cannot provide that. And no wonder they're getting depressed. No wonder they're killing themselves. A generation of boys has been told toxic masculinity means everything about them is toxic. Simply by existing and trying to have standards, you are being toxic. Like lab rats, they learn submission. Sit still. Raise your hand. Be quiet. Don't speak out of turn. Obey your superiors. Be a good little boy. We're breeding a cultural sterilization. A man is now safe, sanitized. Even our biology is rebelling to this. And as you guys know, I'm somebody that very much so preferences the way biology functions. You simply cannot lie about how your DNA is coded. As much as you make social, progressive stances and new policies, guys, I supported a lot of them. I do support a lot of them, to be honest. As much as you do that, though, you can't deny the fact that we're still XX, XY chromosome. That's just the way we're coded. And again, I'm not saying anything's wrong with any alternative ideology. I'm not going to call out any particular group, but I'm saying our biology is usually the indicator for our limitations as human beings. A global health study found that men's sperm counts have crashed by 50% in 50 years. So 1% a year. That staggering drop isn't just bad science. It's a warning. Nature itself is noticing that something's wrong. Something is poisoning our ability to produce testosterone. Maybe it's the microplastics in the shirt that I'm wearing. Maybe it's the chemicals that wash our clothes that remain in them. Maybe it's the microplastics in your toothbrush that you get in your bloodstream. Maybe it's the microplastics in your water that you drink. Maybe it's the things in your water that you drink. Maybe it's the food that you eat. Maybe it's the fact that you don't get sunlight. Maybe it's the fact that your diet consists of chemicals. Our biology is warning us. Looking for signs. You're looking for a holy grail to come down and wake you up. Well, here it is. Your biology is saying things. You're bloated. Obesity is going up. Something is wrong. And if you can't notice that, then can you notice anything? Because this is the most obvious sign in front of you. I'm going to tell you a story, right? Have you ever heard the Plato's cave analogy? Well, I'm going to bring it up. Plato once described ordinary people as prisoners chained in a cave, mistaking shadows that were cast upon a wall by light as the reality. These people sitting behind them that they couldn't see were dancing figures in the light and projecting shadows up on as if it were some movie screen. And people thought that was reality because they were in the cave their whole life. Today, most men celebrate like they're in charge of their destiny, but they're still glued to apps and algorithms. They cheer when they should question. Plato's analogy continues by showing what happens when one man leaves the cave, becomes awake to the true reality. When they see actual water, when they see the sun dancing, when they see objects being lit up by actual light, when they see animals, when they feel the air, when they feel life surround them, when you're awakened to the true sense of reality, which is what I'm doing here. When you understand the things I'm saying, when you listen to me, your reality changes. You can't take that back, nor would you ever want to. It's me saying, here's the answers to everything. Those answers aren't always going to be positive, but you're going to have the answers. The answers. You're going to have the secrets. You will have a cheat code to life. The same cheat code I used to make money in business that I sold. And now I'm started this business. The fact that I've found success at such an early age. I'm giving you guys secrets that I didn't learn just myself. I gathered from mentors, from people that had achieved everything they wanted in life. Things that only the most astute will observe in their reality of life. Things that once you change your perspective to encompass these actual reality facts that you would have otherwise called conspiracy or called irregular to my normal life, right? But then you also wonder, why is my normal life not resulting in me winning? Clearly something's wrong in your normal life if you aren't winning. So you need a different tint of reality. You understand that, right? Something is wrong with the reality you're in because you're not in the position in life you want to be. So you need to make a change, but you don't know what that change is. And I'm telling you, It's because you have the wrong information. You probably would have never needed me if you would have just been taught the information properly. But that's what I'm here to do now, because it's the only option you have. Otherwise, you continue to exist in this reality. Factors that are out of your control that you never knew about will continue to influence your existence. You're going to keep losing in a lot of ways, even though you shouldn't. You think being a billionaire is some crazy concept, right? But in reality, if you knew how they operated in life and the true secrets to getting there, it's so much easier than you think. That's why Jeff Bezos has said that he could lose everything and build it all back again. Because once you know the knowledge, it's already there. It's a weight to carry, right? Because now you know that you have been given the gift of light. You can see everything now. Now, the only choice is for you to do something with it, because there's no excuses now. And that is the weight you carry. If you don't do something with that knowledge, you live with the pain of not having acted. But at the same time, acting makes the reality exist in a way that you get everything you ever wanted to begin with. You get everything, and you get to become better by facing the challenge, facing the music, and saying, I'm finally ready for this. Instead of hiding and cowering away and getting distracted by social media when you say you're going to work on your business, when you say you're going to get something done tonight, but then you go distract yourself with Netflix. Because in reality, you think you're doing it because, oh, I'm just waiting on this email to come back. Oh, I already did this tonight. I'm going to wait till tomorrow. But in reality, you don't know what you're doing. And so you're distracting yourself by feeding yourself fake dopamine from Netflix, from videos, let's just say, when you could just continue working. The reason you can't continue working is because you don't know what to do. You don't know what the next step is. That's not your fault either. But it is your fault when somebody comes along like me and tells you that you have a path to take. The Digital Syndicate is literally right here. There's a link in the bio. And you guys are not taking the opportunity that's being handed to you, the opportunity to better yourself. When you know that reality exists outside the cave, and you say, I like the way the fire feels, I'd like to stay in here, then you are one of the saddest pieces of existence we could have, because you're accepting defeat, withering away, you're cowarding. And I don't respect that. I think most strong men, if you actually deep down, right, I know you're losing 50% of your testosterone, like I just said, as a man. But if you're truly listening to what I'm saying, something inside you, in the deep core of who you are, is saying, you know what? Damn, I don't want to have to do all that work, but I do want to bend the line. Got a point. Something, he might be pissing me off by the way he's talking to me right now, and that's kind of my goal, but I can see what he's saying. Anybody that's taken philosophy class understands the cave methodology, and the cave analogy. So I'm going to talk about 12 years. 12 years of school, 4 years of college, and you still feel like an idiot. You still feel like none of this that I learned about mitochondria being the powerhouse of the cell, but how does that help me file taxes? It's by design. That's the answer. It is by design that you learn about mitochondria and that you don't learn about microeconomics, right? True business success practices. Our schools aren't temples of knowledge. They're obedience factories. Tell me one thing that you do in school. Tell me one thing. Comment it. Tell me one thing that school has you do that isn't related to obedience. Schedule lets you go to class that they tell you to go to. Trains you to be restricted in your time freedom by living by someone else's plan for your life. Location freedom, you have to go to the school that's in your district that you're paying taxes on. That's the only options you have. That's location freedom. And financial freedom. I can't make more money because not only do I get fed false information, misleading information, but also it's taking the time away from me learning actual impactful knowledge that can help me make real money. And it's making the people that don't need to do that stuff even wealthier. Location, finance. The three types of freedom that make up sovereignty, which is true freedom. The freedom that we pretend to advertise with fireworks. When you have time, location, and financial freedom, you are a sovereign being. You can go where you want on your own clock, and you can do and acquire and build whatever you want because you have the resources, which is usually money provided. School limits all of those. They're trained quite well to sit down, to follow rules, and to raise your hand before you speak, writes one critic of modern education, coming from medium.com. But did they teach us how to think independently or earn money? Of course not. That would absolutely ruin the program. The goal was never true learning. It was to churn out debt-ridden workers who show up on time and toe the line. Trust me, guys, if you know what I do for a living, I know what I'm talking. We fill our kids with test prep and platitudes about citizenship, and neglect the skills of real life. Quadratic formulas, y equals mx plus b, and historical dates won't save you from debt, nor will you probably ever use it again. But the knowledge of markets, persuasion, and self-discipline will. What percent of the time was school focused on rote memorization of facts, aka training instructions that you need for a job, right? Because you have to understand how a job operates. So they're training you to memorize basic facts about how to do a task. They're not teaching you how to stay disciplined. They're just yelling at you when you don't get something done. They're not teaching you the actual practices to hold yourself accountable. That's barely preference in school. For decades, schools have been quietly telling people a secret. If you control minds when they're young, you can control their future forever. No wonder so many graduates leave campus with wallets empty, without a job, with heads full of slogans. Imagine two graduates, graduate A and graduate B. One was taught how to code apps, to invest, and to negotiate. The other was taught how to recite the pledge and to color inside the lines. Which one walks away with independence? The system bets on the latter, becoming a compliant worker. Not only that, but a compliant consumer. Taught to consume the knowledge they give you, not to build something, not to take formulas and programming and write your own software, but instead to follow the software you were told. We're not in the age where we're running through the woods anymore with spears chasing after a woolly mammoth, or we have lions hunting us down trying to eat our bodies. You don't need to stay silent. You don't need to listen to the hunter leader of the pack telling you to shut the H up, because your life isn't in danger. But it is in danger in the way things work today if you don't build something for yourself. If you decide that the only option you have is to take the one that's given to you. Because very likely, that's not the best option. Let's just use logic here. How many times have you been to the DMV? Is the DMV the most efficient place you could ever operate? Is the DMV getting you in and out in 5 minutes with a smile on your face, the best customer support? How much of the time do these government organizations, as much as I love them, guys, and I'm not criticizing here, I'm just paying out facts. How much of the time do you truly think that that is the best system out there? That's a rhetorical question. Don't you think that transfers? Every day you willingly strap on the chains of your smartphone. Social media is literally engineered to pacify you so you don't think in the way I'm challenging you to. But what am I doing right now? I'm leveraging social media as the only option, right? Use the system that's keeping you stuck here to fight this system so you actually build something. It's the only option I have to connect with you because you guys are so far deep in that the only chance I have to grab you and pull you out is by getting in the water myself. And here I am on social media, what I'm claiming isn't, the best thing to be on, telling you guys that we need to stop. We need to find other ways. The only time you should be on social media is when you're doing exactly what I'm doing, when you're putting a message out and building something bigger outside of it, because you have to be, not because you're choosing to bore yourself. Social media is literally engineered to pacify you. As Dr. Anna Lemke of Stanford explains, social platforms exploit our need for connection by triggering the brain's dopamine rewards. Quote, scrolling through social media can be addictive in similar ways to cocaine or alcohol. End quote. Instant likes and swipe fest hit our dopamine pathways so fast that you barely notice you're being trained. Does a dog truly notice when he's being trained, right? He just sees getting a treat for doing something. And in his brain, he makes the connection, well, this is just something I need to do because it doesn't get me the alternate outcome, which is being punished, right? We're being told no very loudly, which is also unpleasant for a dog and probably for most people too. News feeds load endless novelty and hyperstimulation. So we stay glued to the screen. It's no accident that 95% of teens are on social media and a third use it almost constant. I'm going to point out some more data because you guys are going to say, I'm not credible. I'm just misleading you. I'm just some woke guy, right? Woke isn't even a bad term in reality because it just means you're realizing how things actually work. And that's always way better than being stuck inside a system you were handed. So F off, look at the data. Globally, Americans hoard $17.57 trillion globally in consumer debt. Why? Because the moment that you woke up, ads and influencers told you want stuff that you don't need. Algorithms constantly adjust to keep you buying, and eating and being fat and consuming and not going out and not getting sunlight and eating popsicles and buying the Girl Scout cookies and pacified by the next dopamine. The very corporations that control our media don't want smart people. Why would you ever want someone smart? Guys, if the game is winning or losing and I'm playing chess, why would I want my opponent to be as smart as possible? Maybe you do if you're sick and twisted, right? If the game is life or death, I want the easiest person I can find. And the only way to get the easiest opponent possible is to make my opponent as dumb as possible, especially if I have the means to do that. That's not a direct attack. That's an observation that you can take and apply to anything I may or may not have said. Look at the data. Look at the data, guys. They want consumers obeying the next marketing plan. I love the Matrix analogy, right? The system itself, but think of yourself as Neo from the Matrix. For too long, you've been living in a simulation, fed images of success, the rented Lamborghinis, the 19-year-olds, being told it's so easy with a standard formula to get there. And the real world just passes you by. Social media is the Matrix pilot light. Every single ping hooks you a little bit deeper. To break out, you have to unplug. You have to change what reality looks like. It's not red, it's not blue, it's purple. It's somewhere in between. And so you have to ask, do you choose the red pill of truth or the blue pill of endless scrolling? I can't make that choice for you. Meanwhile, as you're hypnotized by your phone, the system whispers in your ear, there's an evil group over there. There's an evil cabal. Defend yourself. Those guys on this side, they're evil. They're coming for you. What are you doing? Hide. They're attacking you. Every topic becomes a battleground. Race, gender, politics. Everything is weaponized to keep you fighting someone else. On purpose. The Civil War is scripted. Sociologist Vivek Chibber notes that today's so-called identity politics were often tools of the elite, designed to serve the interests of professional class insiders, rather than working people. Hear me out, right? I believe about 250 years ago, a country was formed, and we the people were the first three words of its constitution. So it doesn't seem like it says we, not the general people, but just we, these few people. It was we the people. Doesn't matter who you are. We're just gonna. Sometimes maybe I just need to put my head down. Maybe sometimes you guys just can't hear me, and there's no way out of this. And nobody's listening. Nobody wants to listen. Nobody wants the truth. Nobody wants the responsibility of holding the truth. Everyone's scared of having responsibility nowadays. And when I tell you guys something that makes you wake up and take responsibility, but also leads to the best life you could ever live, and you still don't want to take it, I think I'm losing my mind. I don't know what to do. I don't know. Sometimes, guys, I don't know. I don't know why I'm doing any of this, but I have to do something. I have to do something. And this might be the only option I have, is that try and help you. Try to get through to that 7-inch thick skull that seems to be protecting that 2-inch brain for most of you. In other words, corporate and political elites fund the fireworks of division. Literally, guys, the same fireworks you're going to be watching this weekend, probably a rich person bought. And whether or not, I don't think it's, the point this weekend, but metaphorically, fireworks are going off every single on this piece of technology. And you're watching them. You're watching every single firework being lit, because fireworks are the best proof of distraction. Ooh, pretty light. Ooh, dopamine. Ooh, that's something that's not ordinary. I'm going to pay attention to that. Even though the hard, silent night is where real work is built, where the quiet, peaceful nights are the things that you actually need to dial in. The shiny fireworks, the booms, the music, the dancing parties. Honestly, you deserve it. You honestly deserve to be stuck forever, if that's your mindset. I went through basic training, guys. And in basic training, as much of these micro, facts they told me, the biggest lesson I learned is usually the solution and the thing that's going to happen to you is not the one that you're ready for. And if you're only prepared to receive pleasant things, then the worst things are going to hit way, way harder than you could ever comprehend. But if you're always ready to handle the worst thing coming, then you get to enjoy the bliss of being happy most of the time. That's probably what you're going to create for yourself. I need like one of those like squeezy stress things. I need to like de-stress. I need to pump the iron. I need one of those like little. Can somebody donate like a few bucks? I'm putting my Venmo here. Someone send me $4 so I can buy a stress ball. I just need a stress ball. I don't care who you are. Please scan that and send me $4 before I lose my mind. It's all right. You don't have to do it. I made enough money on my business, guys. I just buy my own stress ball. I at least just would love to see some support, guys. You don't have to donate. You just have to comment. You have to like this. I just need to see that someone cares about themselves. I'm doing this for you. I'm doing all of this for you. And I don't want to make this comparison, obviously. It's kind of like egotistical to say this. I don't know another way to like describe it, right? It's like I am God looking down on you, having the answers to most of these basic questions of how do I start? Why can't I make money? Why does the world feel like it's against me? I know all of these things. And I've already answered all these questions in the digital syndicate. Boop, right here, link in bio. I have the answers. And it's like, you're like, please send me a sign. Send me a sign. There's got to be a way. If I do this, a sign will come. I promise. It's going to float down in some CGI animated like scene where a gift box opens and you crawl out. But in reality, this is the sign. The sign isn't pretty. The sign is the book that you notice on the shelf that you have to read. The sign is the mornings that you wake up and you know you don't want to get out of bed, but something tells you you need to. The sign is feeling hungry, but you're on a cut and telling yourself that you can't give up, even though you want to. The sign is choosing the hard thing over the easy comfort. The sign is listening to me right now and not swiping because it's so easy to, isn't it? It's exactly supposed to be, because most people aren't going to win. Most people aren't going to survive this. Most people aren't meant to. I think school did get that right. There's a reason, maybe the reason we don't teach everyone the true secrets is because not everyone's going to be the 1%. Statistically, 100% is not equal to 1%. It never will be. And so the 1% have to learn their own ways. And so what makes you think in a general system that's meant to teach everyone, you're going to learn those tips, those secrets? You guys are ignorant if you believe that. I'm sorry. Even if you think college is going to do that, still in the same system. Maybe you're down to the 30%. That's not the 1%. That's not how you live an exceptional life. It's how you live a good life. But you know you're cut out for more than that. I know you're cut out for more than that. And I don't even know who you are because I know everyone is. The identity war is the oldest trick in the book. Consider how most Americans think and admit that the real source of their troubles is their neighbor or their colleague of a different color or different ideology, a different political background, a different color behind me, which is literally why they're behind me, because none of that shit matters. It's insane. If you research reports that 77% of Americans think the country is more divided now than it was a few years ago. Ask yourself, divided for whom? Because someone wants the division. With the resources we have, with the communication platforms we have, it would be so easy to fix things. It would be so easy with the money that is in the economy, that if it went to the right places, all of our problems would be fixed. So who is it divided for? Who's really winning? The trailer of the 4th of July is propaganda. Celebrate your group's victims or martyrs while ignoring how your own hands are tied to debt and drones. It was never about someone else. It was about you versus you. It was about understanding that nobody was ever going to come and save you. And the only option you have on this 4th of July is to declare your own independence from systems that were built to purposely keep you where you are. Is to say that I want to be free and fight a much simpler fight than our founding fathers did 250 years ago, because you are disgracing them if you don't make something of yourself. If they didn't go through all of that, they didn't get gout and trench foot and speared with bayonets, fighting off an empire to create this for you. And here you are scared to investigate in a $17 a month community that has the answers, that you're literally deciding you'd rather have a McDonald's Happy Meal. And if you ask where the problem is, you're the problem, if that's you. If you're choosing to not invest money in yourself, if you can't invest $20 in yourself, even $20, how are you going to invest 20 grand to make the biggest business decision of your life? How are you going to invest $200 to make your first $1,000? You see how this all scales and compounds from one very simple decision? And I'm handing you that decision. That's exactly the point of the digital syndicate. There's the reason we have a price tag. The whole point of the digital syndicate is to find people that actually want to change their life. If it was free, I wouldn't find those people, because the real people wouldn't come out. It would be, you guys would be hidden. The ones of you that actually care about your success, you'd be hidden in this wave of people that want to pretend that they're doing something, want to mentally masturbate to the fact that they're doing something productive. When in reality, it's hard. You have to spend money. You have to invest. You have to take on risks to change your reality. And the first test, before you even start the digital syndicate's transformative 4-phase courses, before you start any of that and actually make thousands of dollars a month, you have to pass the test of, can I even choose to do something for me? Or am I told that I have to do things to survive? I have to pay rent. I have to buy gas. And I can't do anything for myself. The only thing I'm doing for myself is video games, which is distracting me and not leading to something bigger. And you know it is, but you still can't give it up because you don't believe that there's something better that you can absolutely obtain. And I'm telling you right now, you could have an IQ of 50. You could pass through everything I'm telling you, because the only thing that it takes is action. If somebody's motivated enough, they can make any reality they want. There actually is a version of freedom that we're told, and as much as you think it's tainted, it does exist. You have to do it using the right knowledge, though. You're acting on bad information. And like any military operation, it's always going to end up with someone being killed. And the reality is, what's being killed is your potential to see success in the mission of your life, because you only get one chance at this mission. Why are you not taking every advantage you can get? Why are you choosing to spend money on empty calories of poison fries at McDonald's and not invest that into yourself? Why are you wasting the one shot to exist? Do you know the odds that you are here? It's like picking a grain of sand on the beach and you're wasting that. That is unacceptable. And that is not what the founding fathers fought for. That is not the reason you're going to feel pride when you stare at the fireworks, because you're going to know that you didn't earn the result of that. That you have a price to pay. There actually is a deep hidden cost. And the price is that we, the people, come together to make this place better. And that consists of we as individuals striving to be better ourselves and not depending on other people to make us better and hand it to us. You have to decide that now is the time to take action. And if you can't do that, then I don't even want to see you. I don't want to talk to you, because you don't have what it takes. And in this age where nuts are so hard to find, if you don't have that for yourself, then you never will. And this won't be the place for you. I'm going to tell you one more story. Once a tyrant divided his kingdom's citizens. He divided them into two tribes, fooling them into hating each other so they wouldn't notice that he was stealing the grain. Town on the left fought the town on the right. And every time they fought, in the middle of the war, he'd have his advisors sneak off into both of their reserves and take a few bags of grain for himself. The tyrant is reality. He's the corporate state. He's the big executives. The people that could laugh as both sides spat vitriol at each other. Nobody's listening. This is gonna, in 6 months and a year, guys, when I have 500,000 people watching my podcast, this episode is gonna come back. Maybe it'll be clipped, whatever. I'm gonna look so young and so innocent at that point, but I want to remember this moment for myself, and I'm just gonna take a quick tangent here. I want to remember this moment where nobody's listening. The algorithm is punishing me for speaking out against it. But the big execs at Instagram and TikTok are all sitting around saying, hey, this guy has bad things to say about us. He actually wants us to get better. He wants us to receive feedback and backlash for not performing to the standard that their consumers could best deserve. And we're going to punish him for that. We're not going to make his videos blow up. We're going to make it very hard for him to be successful. Or we're going to make it so that the people listening right now can't even like the video. You guys don't even want to like the video. It's kind of making me look pathetic, isn't it? But you know what? I don't care because it's the only option I have to make an impact. I'm doing the best that I can. And I hope you guys see through that and see the meaning behind that. One more point, guys, to really paint out the true effect of this. If identity is our divided battlefield, consumption is our religion. The creed is buy stuff and you will matter. Keep up with the Joneses. Look for the newest video game. Look for go to the newest movie, right? Listen to the newest songs. Television, influencers, and the late night ads teach us to fill every hole in our life with a product. In the 1980s, we wore power suits. We used to channel that greed is good. Today, consumer spending is the enemy, and it makes up the whole economy. It's 2/3 of US GDP. We win by having the coolest gadgets, the fanciest home, or the newest car on the block. But the worship of stuff has a dark rise. I think even in religion, right? False idols, right? When you make possessions that are man-made and manufactured your gods, right? You worship them and strive for only getting more of that and pretend to worship an honest God, then you are not making the most out of your life. You are actually practicing, anti-religious practices. It's a treadmill. You can never finish. Psychologists warn that as materialism rises and we want to buy more and more fancy or nice stuff, so does anxiety, depression, and burnout, because you can never have enough. Because you were never enough when you started. You chased something to show that you were enough. But in reality, all you had to do to show that you were enough was believe that you were, and then take action to justify. Taking action to get the stuff, to make the money that could buy the stuff, was giving you value. But you thought that the thing gave you value. And that's why you'll always be sad, why you'll always be depressed, why you'll always be chasing a standard of success that will never come to you. And I've learned that lesson, my friend, and I don't want that for you. In other words, the more you chase wealth and things, the emptier that you feel. The TV tells you the next vacation or gadget or iPhone will fix it. Meanwhile, when you're blinking at screens and credit cards, the real creators, the artists, the entrepreneurs, the thinkers, are awakened to a different calling. They're doing it inside the digital syndicate, where once again, you are still hesitating to take action on. And I'm just proving again that this is true because you would have taken action and proved me wrong otherwise. Consider the stats. Americans are a staggering $17.6 trillion in debt, like I said before. Roughly $105,000 per person on average of debt to the world. Every year, we hand more of our life to banks and landlords. We traded true wealth, which is skills, knowledge, and brotherhood, right? Things that used to bond humankind, again, biologic, for endless Netflix seasons and phone upgrades. We became hostile at our friends for not having the cool stuff that we have. We silently judge women, men, children, right? For not having the cool stuff and flexing the outfits. But remember, an addict craving the next few answers is always chasing the fix. And he always still becomes dependent on the supplier of that fix. Today's wage earner works like a peon in a candy shop. Will it buy one more candy or will it break free? Will it see that beyond the doors of the candy shop is a life that's full of excitement on its own? And it doesn't need supplemental drug. I can only be sad for so long. I can only fear longer for enough time. You guys sense the lie of reality. You sense the reason I'm doing all of this. Most importantly, you sense that I have a point. This 4th of July, real victory comes not from more fireworks. It doesn't come from staring up at the sky. It comes from breaking the shackles inside your own mind and inside your wallet. Imagine an ascension from all of this madness. Seeing through the divide and conquer, the hostility, deleting the social media apps that scatter your brain, and refusing to be defined by the system and what it tells you. The simplicity of being told what to do, like you were trained your whole life in school. It's not true anymore. So stop listening to it. Listen to someone outside the system that is reaching out, literally reaching out right now to pull you to the other side, that wants to help you. And you can't see that because you've been so abused in the past for disobeying the system that you don't think it's going to be safe. It's like someone telling you it's okay to jump in. The water's fine. And you're saying, no, they're going to yell at me if I jump. I'm going to get hurt if I jump. But you've never jumped. So how would you know? And here's the kicker. You don't have to do it alone. There is a way out of the rat race, out of the maze. Founded the Ascend Digital Syndicate on purpose to truly be a syndicate of knowledge. So it's not just me. It's not some course you're buying. It's a true community of people that are all adding value to each other. And that, my friend, that is cataclysmic. That will drive growth further than you could ever imagine. Think of it as your personal vault to shatter programming with every single tool you could ever find. Instead of slowly stockpiling your weapons in your armory, you're being handed every tool in the book. Someone else there knows how to fix any problem you have. You can't find those people. I found them. I brought them together in a community. And I'm charging you money to be in that, to also have the knowledge. Because I want you to prove to me that you're even worth being here. That you can take action to better yourself. Because that's all you're going to need to do inside the syndicate. It's not, you don't get network by just being handed connections. You have to go meet people. You have to introduce yourself. There's effort involved to escaping. That's why it's so hard. That's why everyone stays stuck. And that's why most of you will never take action on the syndicate. Because it requires work. And if you want the things you say you want so badly in life, then you would take action right now to justify that. But something in you hasn't taken action. So you don't even want this stuff. You're You're pretending you want a Lamborghini. You're saying that would be nice. And you could have all of that. You could be a version of you is going to the dealership right now to pick up the keys to that yellow Lamborghini Huracan, the blacked out windows with the rims. But this version of you has been tainted and doesn't exist because the version of you that's actually acting decided that you didn't have what it takes because school told you so. Because systems that you never got to have a say in were programmed to teach you that. And you decided to listen to every single word like the good boy you are. We trade memes for master plans. We're not just joking around. We're actually working. We trade hopelessness for skill building and a belief in something. We teach real money tactics, real mindset training, and real leadership. Not just the same empty slogan school teaches you. Assets equals liabilities plus equity. It's not that. It's actual steps. It's templates that you fill in. You do it as you learn it. So if you're tired of being a cog, if you want real presence, if you want wealth, not just a lucky break, but generational wealth. If you think that's not real, that's exactly why you need to listen to me, because somebody told you that that's not realistic. And the system that was broken that you tried to beat, you didn't know how to do it. So of course you're going to feel like it's hopeless. That's the exact sign that you need to be here. And if you want the brotherhood to support you, to guide you, and to make you assured that you're making the right decision from the second that you get in, the Ascend Digital Syndicate is waiting. It's not waiting forever. $17 is locked in now. It will never go up if you buy it now. Inside, you're going to find a war room strategy, the 4 phases to finding your identity, making a brand out of that, developing an offer that you can sell, and then scaling that with AI and technology, which is what we accelerate and excel at, and what other communities simply can't match us at. Why we're the best in WAP on the platform we're hosting on, in this niche. We're not promising the magic pill because I can't guarantee you're going to do the work on it. If you never take action, then I can tell you for sure you're not going to see it. And again, it's even if you do take action, it's not certain unless you stay with it. But then you're basically guaranteed. You teach real money tactics. We teach mindset training, but it takes action. We're going to give you the tools to smash the system. And instead of getting stomped on, you can fight back. It's healthy to fight back. You're told that resisting an outburst is wrong, but express yourself. That's freedom. That's the freedom that the 4th of July never talked about. The freedom that you can say what you want. You can do what you want. You can take action in the way that you want. That is the biggest secret that you will never get to experience because you believe in a fake sense of freedom, freedom with limitations, a freedom with sacrifices. But the freedom of truly being sovereign is right in front of you, and you're choosing not to act on it. And you will regret this. I want to help you, but I can't make the decision for you. I can't type in the credit card information. I can't spend your money. That's the easiest step in all of this. And you're overthinking it. You've used the truth bomb for the 4th of July. Freedom isn't fireworks. It was a design. It was the best distraction. It was a physical distraction among so many other distractions like social media, corn, dopamine, sugar, naps, dark rooms and lack of sunlight, fake vitamins, chemicals that you're being fed. A design built to be broken because you were never supposed to realize that. It was fine if it slipped up. It was fine if it didn't work properly because the odds of you actually realizing that these systems were bad was so little. You're not just free because you say you are, or because a slogan or a country tells you are, because you got off work for a holiday. You're free when you own yourself, when you own your time, when you own your location, own your money, becoming sovereign in all 3 areas. And you own yourself and your mind. Right now, most Americans are waking up chained to their debts and their devices. As soon as July 4th ends, as soon as we go back to work next week, they're back in the same system that trapped them. And the illusion of freedom is over. They felt good for the weekend. They ate their hot dog. They're right back into it, pretending as if they're not the biggest hypocrites in the world for saying they were something they're not. They're celebrating the day slavery ended while still being under subtle new masters. This has been a merciless reality check. I have not been nice to you, and I apologize. That's the point. We've covered how masculinity and drive have been hollowed out, how schools and social media have turned us to obey, and false battles distract us. How shopping battles keep us distracted in this economic servitude. See all the order stats I mentioned above. But you can walk out of the trance. Part of you is starting to wake up. Part of you is uncomfortable with the things I said, and that's the exact feeling you need to take action on. That's the sign that your friend is right about jumping in, about cliff jumping into the water. Maybe you won't get hurt. Maybe part of you wants the excitement of really living life to the fullest extent. Are you going to jump? Or are you going to try? Because as Yoda said, do or do not. There is no try. You have to take action. You have to commit to something. That's why I'm charging a price. You have to put yourself in a position where you lose money, where you take a risk, because that sets the foundation for much bigger risks that you will need to take as an entrepreneur. I've taken. Returns, as much as the losses, have been much greater. And if you're a true entrepreneur, you understand how to save money, how to write off the expenses, and how the expenses really always don't weigh the benefits. The benefits as a business owner, doing things the right way, will always be in your advantage. And it's almost guaranteed that you win if you have the formula. The first step to all of this is just seeing the cage. And now you see it. Now you have it. The next step is to break the lock. Again, as I've said, the syndicate is the only way to chop this away. We're going to open your eyes, but also help you build real world wings and survive with a business. We're going to literally help you understand how to work a business while paying you to do it. Yes, we're paying you money to do it. And then when you get in fully and integrated, You'll build your own business. You get a trial run, training wheels, and getting handed money to do it, to practice. Now, when you transition into the real world, you can build it around your own brand, and it's just copy and paste. You're used to taking the risk of risking your time, but you get a reward. Now you're going to do the same thing, but you're leveraging your own face, your own brand, or maybe someone else's as an affiliate and making thousands of dollars a month. Let this 4th of July be the rebirth of your independence, not just another TV special to distract you from the fact that you're not. Share this truth if it hits you. Share the podcast, like it, guys, subscribe, and remember that freedom was never just a feeling. It's a system that you can hack and you can master. Once again, guys, my name's Caleb Schulke. This is the Ascended Podcast, and I thank you for your time. Happy 4th of July.